The house did not look abandoned. It looked paused. Curtains were drawn, beds were occupied. The air inside had not yet cooled, but the mirrors were covered, not shattered, not turned away, hidden. Whatever had passed through those rooms had not fled. It had stayed long enough to decide what should not look back.
Subscribe.
Villisca, Iowa, in the summer of 1912 was built on predictability. Schedules mattered, faces were familiar. Evenings ended early. Josiah Moore lived on a corner lot near the railroad tracks. He sold agricultural equipment, reliable work, steady income. His wife Sarah managed the household. 4 children filled the rooms with ordinary disorder. On June 9th, the family attended a children's program at the local Presbyterian church. 2 sisters from next door, Ina and Lena Stillinger, joined them afterward. They asked if they could stay the night. Permission was given without hesitation. By 10 o'clock, the house was dark. 8 people slept inside. Sometime after midnight, someone entered the Moore home. There were no broken locks, no forced windows. The doorways showed no damage. The weapon was an axe taken from inside the house. The killer moved room to room. Each victim was attacked in bed. The blows came from above, delivered while they slept. No screams were reported. No neighbors heard a disturbance. After the killings, the intruder remained. Curtains were pulled tighter, windows covered deliberately. Mirrors and glass surfaces were concealed with cloth, not smashed, not ignored. The axe was wiped clean, returned to storage. This was not the behavior of someone acting in panic. The next day, the house remained quiet. A neighbor noticed the stillness. No children playing, no movement behind the windows. When the front door was opened, the scene spread quickly, too quickly. People entered before police could secure the house. They walked through rooms, they touched walls, they stood where the killer had stood. By the time investigators arrived, the crime scene was compromised beyond repair. 8 bodies were found in the bedrooms, 4 adults, 4 children. The violence was extreme, the arrangement was controlled. Investigators focused on what felt wrong. The absence of haste, the careful movement through the house, the covering of mirrors. At the time, some believed the act was religious. In certain traditions, mirrors were covered after death to prevent the soul from becoming trapped. But those rituals were performed by families after loss, not by intruders. Others suggested psychology, that the killer did not want to see himself reflected, that mirrors forced confrontation. There is no proof of that either. The simplest explanation may be the most unsettling, that covering the mirrors was simply part of the process, a step performed because it had always been performed. Several suspects emerged. A traveling preacher who had been in the area, a former business partner with grievances, a man who confessed, then recanted. None could be conclusively tied to the crime. Evidence had been destroyed early, footprints erased, objects moved. Despite the scale of the violence, the case stalled. There were no similar crimes nearby that could be definitely linked. No pattern that extended beyond the house itself. The murders appeared complete, contained. The Moore house did not fade into memory. It became a place people avoided, then a place others sought out. Visitors spoke of unease, of rooms that felt watched, of mirrors that no longer hung where they once had. But the real disturbance was not supernatural. It was structural. Someone had entered a family home at night, moved through it calmly, adjusted its environment, and left without being seen. No message was written, no symbols left behind, only absence. Villisca endures because it resists explanation, not because nothing is known, but because so much is. The killer waited, the killer prepared, the killer had time. The covered mirrors are not evidence of madness, they are evidence of duration. Someone stood in those rooms long enough to think beyond necessity. And when morning came, the house was left exactly as it had been arranged, as if it were meant to be remembered. No one was ever convicted. The names of suspects faded, the house remained. Villisca is not a story about an unknown monster. It is a story about someone who understood domestic space, who knew how to move quietly through familiarity. The mirrors were covered not to hide the dead, but to ensure that nothing inside the house was forced to witness what came next. And that may be the most unsettling detail of all.
Like and subscribe.